Howdy, howdy, howdy. It's finally that time of year. It's been a long, depressing summer waiting for Big Brother. We got the cast reveal today, this afternoon. I'm so ready to talk about it. So much fun. Guys, bring your questions. Let's talk about all these house guests. I don't figure we're going to talk about anything except that, more or less. But I'm just happy. I'm just happy that we're finally back in the Big Brother season. So let's bring it on. All right, but before we do it, let's see. First of all, I'm so happy. Big old shout out while I can. SKD 143. I love my wife. I love my kids. I love reality TV fans. I love you guys that hang out with me on Monday nights and those who watch on repeat as well. And I really love Big Brother as well. So happy to have it. Now, I know we've got, and I'm going to see who all's out here in a second. I know we've got all of y'all friends that are out here every single Monday, and I appreciate that so much. Also, we've got some new folks and everything as we get into the Big Brother season. So for old and new both, welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad to have you with me. Please consider, if you haven't done so already, subscribing to my channel, turning on notifications, and you can hit the thumbs up while you're out there as well. That's always appreciated. But I say that because a lot of you know it, some of you may not. Starting on Wednesday, live move in. As soon as those feeds turn on, I am planning, just like I did the last few years, ever since my season, watch overnight. So y'all don't have to if you don't want to. I'll watch overnight. Wrap everything up into 15, 20-minute long morning recap of everything that happened overnight. So while you're drinking your coffee, driving to school or work or whatever, you can find out all the important stuff. So if you subscribe and turn on the notifications, you'll be the first to find out when I drop a new episode. I'm getting my sleep in now because I'm not going to get any for the next 100 days. Did y'all hear that? The show's going to be 100 days. They're beating my season by 1 day. It's all right. I was in the house 93 days. Most of them aren't going to stay that long, but it is going to be a 100-day season. All right. Before going any further, I do want to go out and just say howdy to all of the folks that are out there. Right off the bat, Amanda Lowe is absolutely right. She says, it's almost time for Big Brother. Oh, I'm going to love to hear Don Woolman's voice as he gives it to us one more time. It's going to be so fun. So, yeah, Amanda, welcome aboard. Glad to have you here. Kennedy Franken. I forgive me if I still say Keith sometimes, but Kennedy, welcome as well. Jake the Horror Movie Geek, Stevie Lee, Charlene Pickett, Marilyn Sutherland, Abby Love 12, Chickadee and Kennedy. How are y'all doing? Kennedy, say I got you, Kennedy. Y'all are just having a fine little conversation here. Paula Scar, and it was Sandy O as well. Sandy, how are you doing? Cindy Heyer. Let's see who else. God, so many comments on here. Michelle Moore. Hey, Michelle, how are you? And Mark Taylor, Brian Hostetler, let's see, Cross Track 6, Kyler Roddy, Michelle Moore. That's great. All these names I see every week, and then the new ones as well. Ma's out here. Angie is out here as well. Oh, welcome to all of y'all, all my true friends. I just love seeing y'all out here. It's going to be a fun night. I'm so happy. So happy. It's so horrible trying to wait for the cast reveals to happen. It just was taking forever. Logan Hambrick, Janet Johnson, X Max, Andy W. Let's see, who else do I have on here? Toxic Tricks, hey, Toxic Tricks, Lori Lyon, Wyatt Garrett. If I didn't mention your name before, welcome Wyatt. MD, and who else? I think we're about there. Tina Harlan Sandstedt, and did I miss anyone? Let me say the Werewolf Mask. Yeah, Werewolf Mask. I wouldn't miss you. Marco Lozano and Madison Andrews. My friends are Sims and TV Fan. All right, I made it through. That's a lot of y'all out here. I love seeing it. I do know there's a lot more that watch on replay as well. I always make sure to turn on the live replay. So not only can you listen to me jabbering away, but you get to see all the comments and the questions for the chat as well, because this is all about the interactive. So especially tonight, I'm going to really try to pay attention to these comments and answer as many questions as I can, because otherwise I'll just talk on and on, especially tonight. All right, Josh P saying cast reveal day feels like Christmas. Doesn't it? I keep walking around. Sharon was going crazy because this morning I'm walking around saying it's the most wonderful time of the year. Yeah, we actually ate lunch early so that I could make sure that I was through eating, and I was sitting there. I had Paramount Plus on the TV set, ready to go. I had my phone out set to Instagram, also on Twitter, and I had the CBS.com website pulled up because I wasn't sure who was going to release the information first. And then I guess it was CBS released just a quick little, like 2-minute long, all the house guests giving about a 15-second each little shout out kind of thing. So at least we got to see who they were, right? Very little information, but at least you got to hear names and everything else. And then I immediately went online, just like everyone else does. I'm pulling up names on LinkedIn and doing Google searches and trying to find out who it is. I feel sorry for someone that has a similar name or the same name as one of these house guests. They're probably wondering why suddenly they're getting all these hits on Instagram and Twitter and everything else. But I did all the digging, and then we got some diary room interviews that came out, and CBS released some more information. And it always amazes me, and it's so much fun this time of year, but it's always so interesting that you see these people, they don't really mean anything to you. I mean, I see faces and it's like, oh, well, that person could be interesting. Oh, this looks like a stereotype of someone I've seen past season. You get those first impressions and you read a little bit about them, but you don't really feel the emotion with these folks because we haven't seen them yet. And yet a week from now, after just a few days in the house, we're going to start getting a feel. Some people are going to rub us the wrong way. Some people are going to be our favorites that we're just going to be cheering on from start to finish. And by the end of 99, 100 days, we're going to feel like some of these people are just almost like family, right? Because we'll have watched them for so long. That's what the mystery, the allure of Big Brother. I do have one special thing before we start getting into some of the questions and all that. There may be people out here, family members of those who are in the house, because I remember my family, or I heard about it later, that once it was revealed and everything, they were out checking, not just, they were checking everything. They were checking the Reddit, they were checking YouTube, everywhere they could find talking about the show, the people, and everything else, and finding what people were saying about me and everything. So for those of you who maybe have family in the house right now, it's going to be an exciting summer. It's going to be almost as stressful for you as it is for the people in the house, because you're going to see the good and the bad. You're going to know the good and bad stuff that's happening that they don't know, and there's not a thing you can do about it. So it's going to be a fun but stressful summer, but enjoy it. Don't sweat the little things. I was on the block the very first week. I did okay after that. So don't worry too much. And for anyone who wants to, that has a family member in the house, if you ever want to reach out to me, just DM me. I give you advice and everything as well. So just a little bit for the family members out there, because it's not just the people in the house. All their loved ones it's a huge experience for everyone involved. So there you go. I just wanted to say that because I do feel for those people. All right, a few questions as we go into it. Chickadee Kenny. I'm liking Riley for my first impression. She seems bubbly and funny, kind of like Kat Dunn. Isn't that the truth? It is so funny you said that, because that is exactly the comment that I have on Riley. And here's what I was going to do. As y'all bring up a person, I'll give you my thoughts. What I just penciled in real quick pencil. It's all on the phone now. But my thoughts about that person, see what y'all think. I may give you kind of where I think they're going to finish and everything else. So let's go ahead and start with Riley. First one, 24 years old, from Nashville. Now, she's from Portland, Maine, I think, originally. She's from Maine. But now she's working in Nashville as a bartender. So she's kind of, we've had those kind of house guests before who are working as a barista at Starbucks or working as a bartender or anything. I think people tend to discount them a little bit. And I certainly think they're going to do that with Riley, just as you said, Chickadee, with the same way they did Kat. Saying, she's kind of a flighty person. Yeah, she's fun, but she's, a little, not so serious about anything. Well, we learned with Kat that was certainly wasn't the truth. I think people are going to learn this with Riley as well. Did y'all know, before she moved down to Nashville, she has a college degree. She went to the Maritime Academy and got a degree, I think, in international business and logistics. So she spent some time going to school and all that. I think there's a side of her that she's not really showing in her interviews, because she did very much play off that, I'm just here to have fun, and maybe I'll do this, maybe I'll do that hot, giving the same look that Kat did. So I do wonder how she's going to do. Here's what I like about her that makes me think that she may really handle this game well. She mentioned in her diary room interview, from a strategy standpoint, she said she's going to keep her head on a swivel. She's going to stay flexible. That she thinks adapting is the key to playing and winning the game. I agree 100%. There's other people during their interviews who had very well-defined strategy. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. This is why I'm going to do this. They have it all figured out before they ever go in the house. That's great. And I had my strategies going in, but at the end of the day, you don't know how things are going to work out, especially with twist other people. She's going in realizing that she's going to have to be very much willing to pivot on a dime when it needs to be, that she's going to have to be flexible. She's going to have to be adaptable. I think that's the key. I think that's going to work. She also said that she's not going to be a floater. I think sometimes it's okay to be a little bit of a floater, as long as you don't do it the whole game, but she's not having that at all. So we'll find out. My big question for Riley, is she showman's material? I could see it. 24. I mean, I'm sure the producers were thinking about that when they brought her onto the show. So I don't know. We'll find out. My prediction for her, I think she'll go a long ways. I think she'll be maybe late jury. I don't know if she'll make final 3, but I could see her finishing 4th to 7th or 8th place, somewhere right around there. I think she's gonna be fun to watch. Yeah, this is a great cast. There really is no one on here that I'm like, they're all very interesting people and a lot of variety. We'll talk about that in a second too. All right, Kyler Roddy saying, how do you think Matt will fare in the house, being the first deaf house guest? I was really excited to see him, because when I tried out for the show, there are a lot of people that said, you're too old for that show. Don't let anyone ever tell you that you shouldn't try out for something or you are not capable of doing something. I think he's going to do fantastic. And I still don't know for certain, and I have seen the interviews, is he completely deaf or is he just hearing impaired? I know there's variations, and I'm not sure exactly what the situation is, but what I do know about him, first of all, he hadn't let his hearing impairment create any issues for him. He's not just a competitor in the Deaf Olympics. I guess that's what they call it, Deaf Olympics. He doesn't just compete in that. He's won lots of medals. He's set a lot of records in those events as well. And I know he's won awards for like the VIP of these competitions and all that. So he's obviously an athlete, and listening to his interview, he seemed like a very a charismatic guy. Now, one thing that he did say was that he's going to keep it a secret that he can read lips. And he said not only can he read lips up close, but he can read them from a long way away also. It's like a superpower in the house. Now, it's not going to help him much if he's trying to eavesdrop like Christy did to me. I mean, certainly hearing impairment is going to be a disadvantage at times, right? I can't help but think it is. But if he's able to sit in that house and watch people talk from a long way away and know what's being talked about, that's huge. Because y'all may not realize, but the way those mirrors are set up, there are certain places in that house. I know during my season, it was the kitchen. We had kind of a kitchen with a couch type thing up. There were a few places where you could sit, or the couch in the bathroom. You could sit and you could look at a reflection in a mirror in the next room over that then was picking up an image from in the living room. I mean, it's like being in a fun house. These images bounce around. You could sit in our bathroom and see someone talking sometimes in the living room if you stood just right. If he's able to do that and read lips when someone doesn't even realize that he's nearby, that's huge. That is amazing. Now, the fear I have is that if he tells people he's hearing impaired, whether he admits that he can read lips or not, I think there's going to be people worried about it, nervous about it. And that, combined with the fact that he is athletic and probably is going to be doing pretty well these competitions, I think those two things may create issues for him. People a bit nervous hanging around him. So I don't know. Now, here's another thing that worries me a little bit about Matt's, is that he said he's watched a few Big Brother seasons. So he's not a super fan, which maybe isn't always a bad thing. Sometimes I think it's nice to come in a little bit fresh, but because of that, I do think there's a bit of a learning curve in terms of learning the strategies and who to watch out for, and the way other people may play the game. So that worries me a little bit. He's originally from California. He now lives in Baton Rouge. He goes to school at LSU. And I assume he probably, he may swim there as well. I don't know, but he's obviously athletic. So I think he's going to do well. I'm curious to see how aggressively he goes after the HOHs and everything. He said that his strategy is that he wants to win the first HOH because he thinks it's going to give him the ability to craft a lot of alliances, or at least pull people towards him. And that's so important that first week or so. So I think that's a brilliant strategy. But then he also said that he doesn't want to burn bridges. Sometimes you have to a little bit when you're that first HOH. You're kind of drawing a line in the sands and making a few targets here or there. So that's going to be difficult to balance. But he wants to win the first HOH. He doesn't want to burn bridges, and he doesn't want to win too much. He says he doesn't want to start being viewed as a threat in the house. So maybe just win the first HOH and then coast a little bit. And that's not a bad idea, because if he does that, he proves to the other members of alliances that maybe he wants to work with that he can contribute. But then back off, let the other people burn out a little bit quicker. Yeah, I'm liking Matt. I think he's going to do well. And just the idea that he's getting an opportunity that maybe some people would have not thought he would ever get the chance to do. I'm all for it. I hope he does fantastic on it. I'm curious to see what he's going to learn from reading those lips. All right. Logan Hambrick saying they should have made Cliff as a 17th house guest as a twist. Yeah, okay. All I got to do is call. And Andy W. saying, was glad to see some older cast. Yeah, let's talk about that. Ma saying, yes, a 45 and a 63-year-old. Yeah, well, at one point I thought, well, maybe there's going to be 18 house guests. I had heard those rumors, and that's not the case. It's only 16. But yeah, they could have brought me into the 17th. I've got to say, I would have felt so much more at home with this cast as compared to what I dealt with. Now, I did look. I thought, oh, this is the oldest cast in Big Brother history. It's not really. I think it's the third oldest cast in Big Brother history. But part of that is because I think one or two, there was one when season 22 All Stars came back. It was an older cast because everyone, Janelle and Kaiser and all the people who'd been on many, many years ago came back in. So everyone naturally aged because they were All Stars returning. I think season 2 or 4 was an older cast, so a long time ago. And then season 10, the average age was older than Big Brother 25 is going to be. But it's because you had Jerry, who was 73 years old. So he skewed the results. But in terms of the variation of ages, I think you probably have a bigger distribution of ages here than just about any other ones. For those of you who don't know, I did a little calculation, being the engineer that I am. The average age this season is 32 point something. So we'll call it 32 years as the average age. Half the cast, 8 people, are in their 20s. 5 of a house guests are in their 30s. 2 are in their 40s. And yeah, we've got one woman who is 63 years old. We'll talk about her in a second. I love it. Absolutely love it. Especially the fact it's a woman, because they haven't done that for a long while. When they brought in older people, Kevin, myself, it was the guys, but now she gets a chance as well. Chances may be difficult, but yeah. So there's a lot of distribution. Compare that to my season where I was 54. And then we had right around 30 years old, a little under 30. And then we had a whole bunch of 20-year-olds versus this one where you've got a lot. Yeah. How does that work? Half the cast is 30 or above. It makes me wonder if you could see some alliances form like that. When I went into the house, well, I take that back. Sam was in there as well, but I didn't feel like there were a lot of older folks with me. And so I really couldn't form an alliance based on that. And people also didn't take me that seriously because, he's the old guy, whatever. We'll get rid of him sometime on down the road kind of thing. If you suddenly have 8 people who represent maybe an older generation, they may be able to exert more power than the youngsters are thinking is possible, because they haven't seen it in past Big Brother seasons. I think they could surprise if you get all the alpha males and the younger folks that are interested in the showmances and everything, and they all kind of align together as they tend to do, and think they've got control. They may be surprised. They may not be counting on some of the others being able to work together. I think it could happen this year. Here's the hoping. All right. The werewolf mask is Siri and Zach's relatives are on the season. Yeah, isn't that interesting? And then Auntie Pinky saying, I think there's more to family in the Big Brother house. All look like past house guests. I know that, yeah, there are a few people that reminded me of some past house guests. You're right. And as far as the first comment, yeah, we've got two Survivor relatives that are coming into the Big Brother house, which I love. Bring some more Big Brother folks over to Survivor as well. I was gonna say I'd rather do Survivor than Naked and Afraid. Sharon and my kids certainly would rather have me doing Survivor as opposed to Naked and Afraid, but I wouldn't mind getting into one of these shows where you're kind of thrown out there and abandoned. I think I'd do all right. I could survive if I had to. But yeah, we've got two Survivor relatives coming on board. Let's go ahead and talk about them if y'all want. We'll start off. Who's going to show up first? I think Jared's going to show up. Jared Fields, Siri's son. Siri Fields, how many seasons has she played in Survivor? At least a few, right? 2 or 3 seasons. I loved her. She was always so much fun because she never pretended to be who she wasn't. I mean, sometimes some of her challenges, competitions, she wasn't the fastest. She wasn't the most agile going across beams and things like that, but she always gave it 100%. She always seemed to keep, she always played the game very seriously, but she always seemed to be having fun out there. And I like seeing that. And then she went on Traitors. And I want to spell it for y'all if you haven't seen Traitors on Netflix, but she did pretty well. I mean, Sandra Diaz is kind of the queen of Survivor, right? She's a 2-time winner and all that. Siri, I put Siri right up there with her. I would love, if I ever played Survivor, if I played some past season, I would go out of my way to try to work with Siri because she's just fun to work with. Now she's pretty good, so maybe that's dangerous for me to say, but now her son's coming on here. I heard the rumor that there was a chance or possibility that he was going to be on Blood versus Water playing with her. So he already was in front of the casting agents. They already knew who he was. And now this opportunity came up. I think he's going to do very well. He's 25 years old. He's from Connecticut. He's an exterminator. He's kind of an old pro at reality TV just because his mom's been doing it for so long. I am sure she gave him all kinds of advice. In fact, I know it's the case because he said at one point that he wants to stay absolutely focused on the game. No showmances for him. He's 25 years old, and he's coming in there saying, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. If I'm his dad or Sirius's mom, I think that's what I'd be telling my kids. You don't get caught up on those showman stuff. You're there to win money. You're there to win a title. Don't let that stuff happen to you. I have a feeling he got some friendly advice saying the same thing. He's listening to it. So I think he's going to do great. He also mentioned that he is the youngest of 11 brothers, right? So you've got a big brother competition just within the Fields household. How does he have 10 brothers? I thought Siri was spending a lot of time out on those islands trying to survive. Maybe once she got home, I think she was ready to celebrate in all kinds of ways. But yeah, so he already has spent a lot of time probably fighting with I know what sibling rivalry is like, especially with brothers and all that. He's already spent a lot of time trying to negotiate and survive in a household like that. So I think he's going to do well. He said he's a big fan of Big Brother. I think he said maybe he's not a super fan, but he's right underneath that, which is fine and perfect. Now, very much like Riley, he said the same thing for strategy. He said his strategy is to be fluid about the way he plays the game, adapt to what's going on, that he doesn't want to be a big presence. So in other words, he's going to try to, if not fly under the radar, but not be a very forceful, loud and always taking control and everything else. He's going to try to let other people be the big folks in the house. I think that's smart as well. In fact, for Jared, for my predictions, I've got him as a potential final 3. I think he's got the smarts about him. I think he understands reality TV enough that I think he can go a long way. I'd love to see it. We'll see if that showman's idea works or not. Sometimes you get in there and maybe that changes a little bit, but we'll see. All right. Crosstrack saying, love when they say what their strategy is before going in, and interesting to see if they play like they say. Yeah, you're right. I don't know how you can always do it. Um, Now, having said that, I went in and said, look, here's what I'm going to do for my strategy. I know I'm going to be a big target right off the beginning because of my age. So I'm going to play as hard as I can to win the HOH, which I did. I tried out to become camp director and that didn't work out. I got banished instead, but I fought my way back in. I tried to win HOH. I found out later a lot of people threw that comp during my season. Why? I don't get it. I guess if you know you're going to be under the radar. With me, I thought it was a way to consolidate power. I didn't win, but I think I came in sixth, which I actually was happy with at the time until I found out half of them threw it. But yeah, so I kind of followed through my initial strategy. And then I had said that after that, I was going to try to find the top couple of alpha males, go over, present myself to them and say, look, I'm not a threat. I'm the old guy that's just going to have to hang around and do the best I can, but I am a vote. And if you keep me around, not only will I be a vote to support what y'all want to do, but I probably can eavesdrop in and hear some people saying some things, and I can be an information provider as well. So I very much will be the loyal soldier if y'all will just bring me on board. That was my plan going in, and that kind of worked. I mean, I tried that a little bit with Jack. Well, he ended up getting so busy in his showmance with Sis and his alliance, it didn't work out so well. But with Jackson Mickey, that was what I wanted to do, and I carried it a long time. I probably was just guilty of not cutting it loose earlier, but that was my strategy, and it worked okay. But you're right. There's people who come in with very detailed strategies without knowing what the twists are. Are they going to be competing as teams? Are they going to be individuals? Are there going to be showmances they have to deal with? We don't know yet. So you can have the best laid plans of mice and men. Yeah, talk as much as you want. Once you get in there, you better be adaptable. And I think some are more so than others. All right, Madison Andrew is saying, who's your favorite? That's tough. It depends, because if you're asking me who's my favorite in terms of who I think's going to win, I may have a different answer than who am I going to personally be cheering for the most. I tell you who I think I'm going to be cheering the most for, and that is Felicia. Well, what's her last name? Felicia Cannon. Felicia Cannon, 63 years old. She's bald in the picture, just like they tried to get Christine Valverde. I think that was her name last year. They bound and determined, but yeah, it looks good on her, and it shows that she marches to her own beats to some degree. But I'm cheering for, and she's perhaps my favorite because she's the oldest in the house. She's 63 years old. She's 9 years older than I was when I played the game. And so I give her full respect and encouragement and props for going in, doing something that she wants to do, that she's excited about doing, because I know, just like myself, I know there's probably people who said, yeah, you shouldn't be doing that. Yeah, you're past that stuff. Go do something else. She didn't listen to him. She's pursuing. I'm sure it's a bit of a dream. I hope she has a wonderful experience. I'm going to be cheering for her every step of the way. Her hometown is Washington, I think, but now she works in Atlanta. She works in real estate, so she's used to talking to people and used to selling homes, I assume, to people of all different ages. So she may have the social skills to do well. Beyond that, I realized as I started doing a little research on her, she was in the Air Force. I think when she first got out of school, high school, I assume, but she was in the Air Force in an earlier part of her life, and not just any Air Force person, but she was actually part of their police force, it sounds like. So she was all about law and order. I wonder if she's going to pursue that through the house itself. I think she's going to be a no-nonsense type of person. Now, here's what I like about what she said during her interview. Her strategy, she said she's going to go in and she's going to be her authentic self. She's not going to try to lie about everything. She's going to try to just be her authentic self and let that carry over and allow her to build relationships and trust with everyone else. I kind of tried to do the same thing as well. I went in saying I'm going to be devious. Yeah, that's a part of my strategy I just couldn't do, because that's not who I am. She said she's just going to be who she is, and hopefully that's enough. I like that. I like that. I think she's chasing the strategy the right way. She says she can connect with younger people because she has a son or daughter, I can't remember which, is 24. So she feels that like that'll work. I thought the same thing, that just because I've got kids that age, I can interact. But it's tougher than that, because I think you've got to be careful about going in and immediately taking over the mom role, or for me, taking over the dad role, because sometimes you don't get included as well if you're just the other generation kind of person. And so I think it's going to take more than that. She's going to have to work hard for those first couple of weeks. She's going to have to be willing to stay up all night long. She's going to have to be willing to laugh at the most dumb joke. She's going to have to be receptive to people who are running around yelling at the top of their lungs, and just a whole lot of goofiness taking place in that house. She's going to have to avoid looking in the mirrors and seeing that her age, what her age is. She's going to have to just convince herself that she's 20 something as well, and live life that way. As long as I spent in that house, I don't remember looking in the mirrors that much. I very much I think I've got a young soul, and that helped me. But she's going to have to do the same thing. It takes a lot of work to build those relationships, because they wake us up every morning with music. Most of the music's going to be a few decades newer than probably Felicia is used to. It certainly was for me. And so there's a lot of adjustments that take place, but I hope she does it. Now, if you ask my prediction, if I'm betting money, if I'm over in Vegas, do they do betting on Big Brother in Vegas? I don't know. I think they do in Europe, maybe not Vegas. But if I was betting money, I think she may be a pre-jury boot. It's hard. It's so hard. I know that. And with her even being a little older than I was, I think the odds are stacked against her. But it means that if she does win, it's going to be that much sweeter to have that title, because those odds are stacked against her. But she's got a lot of work to do in the beginning. So I'm cheering for her. She's definitely my favorite. Do I think she's going to win it? Probably not. But if she does, I hope she proves me wrong. All right, Maddie Denchey saying, Felicia seems so fun. I think so. I think hopefully she's got a young soul as well. If she didn't, she wouldn't be trying out and in the house. So I think she's going to be fun. And Logan Hamrick says, Long, I'll get yours in just a second. Let me see what else we've got on here. But yeah, no, I think Felicia, even though she's oldest, I think she'll do well. Now, remember, Jerry, he was 10 years older even than Felicia is now when he went in the house. But that was back in season 10, where we didn't have as much focus on the physical competitions. And that's a question I've got for y'all, and we'll talk about it again in a little bit. With a bigger variation in ages, do you think they're going to have less physical challenge and maybe a little bit more focus on some mental skills, some agility, some rolling some balls down some ramps, things like that? In a normal season, I'd maybe say no, because it seems like they really like the drama of these really intensive challenge type competitions. But this is season 25. They've spent so much time reflecting on all these past seasons. Yeah, Frankie and Brittany and Daniel Reyes came in the house and used that freaking time machine laser, whatever it was. I expect, just because they've put so much focus on the fact that we're looking back at the last 24 seasons, as part of that, I think they may be bringing back competitions from earlier seasons, which tend to be less of the just pure endurance physical kind of challenges. If they do that, I think it's going to help Felicia and a few of the others who may not be able to hang on to a wall for 3 or 4 hours. But there's a lot of other things they're going to be able to do very well. The glass house challenge things like that. I think there's some they'll do well. So we'll see. I think it's going to be different challenges this year, which is going to make it that much more exciting for all of us. All right. Logan saying, I like the vibe that Jag gives off. Sorry, Logan. Yeah. Let me talk about Jag real quick. Jag took so many notes. I was just so excited. I just type it away. Jag is Jag Bain, 25 years old, from Omsk, I think, a little bitty town in Washington. I think he said just a few stoplights in the town. A lot of those kind of towns out in West Texas. So I already feel like I kind of know he did a good job of describing him. He's a truck company owner. He is the first Sikh I think he said Punjabi, the first Sikh to be in the house, which I love to see. He's who he is, and he's coming into the house. He's representing a lot of people that haven't gotten representation previously, and he just seems like a fun guy. He says he's a huge fan. Now, here's what I liked about Jag. He said that the reason he came into the house, he mentioned money, and nothing wrong with that. I certainly came in wanting to win a little money. But he also said he came in the house because it looked fun. That's the way you start. Yeah, it's going to be stressful, more stress than they can ever even imagine. But if you come in and you already have the mindset that while I'm in here, I'm going to have fun, I think that's half the battle. I love it. He described himself as a bit of a jokester, which I'm looking forward to that. Y'all know me. I love to play some pranks while I was in there. It gets so boring in the house. Jag may be one of the ones that creates a little diversion here and there with some jokester type pranks and things like that. I think the fact that he owns his own trucking company and he is 25 years old, that suggests to me someone that's pretty driven in terms of looking for success. And if you do that in the outside world, that may be a good indication that you're going to try to do the same thing in the inside world. He talked about that he knows that this is a game, which I harped on all the time, that whatever happens in here, guys, once we get out, I hope we're all cool and friends and all that. Some people took that to heart, some not so much, but he knows it's a game. So whatever you do inside the house doesn't have any reflection on what happens outside the house is the way he's going to play it. I think that's smart. He does talk about the fact that he really wants to have some close allies in the game that he can work with from start to finish. I think that's smart. You can't win this game alone. So that's great. He did mention in terms of secrets that he isn't going to mention that he owns a trucking company, because that might make him a little bit of a target, either because he'll look too driven, as I mentioned, or maybe people assume if you own your own business, maybe you don't need as much money as some of these other folks do, which is unfortunate. I don't ever want that to be the case, but he's going to keep that a secret. Instead, he's going to say that he's a substitute teacher, and I think a mentor, and I think he said Special Olympics as well, which he said he's already done. There's a lot of people this season who are going to lie about their age, their profession. I don't get that. It's tough to keep those secrets up for that long. But in his case, he said he's actually done those things. So it's going to be easier to fall into that role. I got to say, sometimes, like a substitute teacher, that's going to generate a lot of support from people inside the house. Sometimes that can backfire. Someone may say, Jag, I don't want him going to the very end because he's a substitute teacher. People are going to vote for him just because he probably really does need the money and all that. So you got to be careful with it. But I think he's going the right direction. I'm calling him out as another one of my final 3 picks. I think he can do fantastic. I hope he does. I'm glad they got him on the cast. I think he's going to be a fun one to watch. All right, Phoenix AF saying, no one's going to believe he can't read lips. Yeah, no, I think you're right. Is that Matt? I'm still trying to remember the name. Yeah, I think people are going to suspect it. And Kylerati's saying, imagine Matt with HOH and watching the cameras. Oh, I hadn't thought about that. And just reading everyone's lips, that's overpowered. I hadn't even dawned on me that he could be sitting up in the room. And here's the deal. If someone else is HOH that's aligned with him, he could go up there and maybe spill the beans if he really trusts the person. And so it doesn't even have to be his HOH. Now, if he really wanted to be sneaky, he could go up there and say, hey guys, just so you know, I do read lips, and maybe we're not so tight right now, but you're HOH. I want protection. In exchange for protection, bring me on board. Let me tell you what these people downstairs are talking about. And what if he then just made stuff up? I don't know that he'll do that, but wouldn't that be funny if he said, oh, they're talking about backdooring you as soon as they get a chance. They're not on your side. Trust me. I'm reading these lips here. How would you prove them wrong? Right. I mean, that's a dangerous game. I don't know that he's going to do that, but as a viewer, how cool would that be? Because we're looking for drama, right? You can bounce checks in Big Brother, as they say. You can do whatever you want if it helps you succeed. I think that's a short-term game that probably cost you in the end. But wouldn't that be fun? Just to change things up a little bit. See, now you got me thinking about all kinds of devious stuff you could do in there. All right, Stevie Lee saying, what do you think the theme is this season? I've seen so many rumors about it. We see the colors are so bright, which makes me think comics and everything else. I saw someone who posted, I can't give him credit because I don't remember who it was. There's so many posts and rumors out there. But someone had talked about, what if you had 4 groups and it was split up based on the elements, air, water, fire, earth of some sort. And I guess it's because the different colors could represent, fire and water and earth. Can't get my fingers right. You know what I mean? Maybe. I don't know why I feel like it could be teams this year. It just seems like something that maybe they would do. Maybe not all season. It's surely not all season, but maybe at the start, similar to what they did 2 years ago with Frenchie and the 4 teams and all. I could maybe see that again. And if that's the case, maybe it is elements. I don't know. Everything is so vibrant in the house this year from a theme standpoint. But then you look at some of the windows and they've got the fake trees, like they're out on a little, out in the forest or somewhere, a meadow with trees off in the distance, a very pastoral setting. I don't know. I'm always going to like our theme best of the camp kind of atmosphere, but they may have something a little bit more naturist outside. I don't know, but then everything's so bright indoors. I don't know. It's going to be great watching this thing on Wednesday and figuring out. And maybe there'll be different themes reflecting on the different seasons. Maybe every house will have a slightly different theme. I saw, there's one room that has like oversized clock on the nightstand. Could be like an Alice in Wonderland theme, like season 8. And I don't know. Who knows, these devious folks doing the production and everything. We'll see what the theme is. It's going to be fun no matter what. All right, let's see what else we've got on here. REM. Hey, REM, how are you? Red is giving Frenchie vibes. Yeah, let's talk about that. And then Tina's saying Red reminds me of Donnie. He's going to be fun to watch. And then let's see, what else do we have on here? Can we get all right? And then Xmas saying, can we talk about the primary colors, red and blue? Let's talk about red before we go anywhere else. And the Masson saying Izzy's my favorite, but who names their kids Red, Blue, and America? Quite the patriot, perhaps, right? I don't know, or maybe the communist. I don't think that Red's family probably is big into the red communism type lifestyle, but let's talk about Red right off the bat. Talking about a character, that guy, as soon as I saw him, my first thought is, oh my God, this guy's going to be hilarious. My second thought, is he for real? Or is he overplaying, or is he just playing a role? The more I listen to him talk, I think he's for real. I mean, maybe he's pushing it up just a little bit because he knows that's what people want to see. Maybe. But I have a feeling that may just be what we're seeing with Red. For those of you who don't know, where's Red? He's a guy with a beard right there. Yeah. Red, big old long red beard. Perfect name. I don't know. I'm guessing that's not his real name, but hey, Red works for me. Ma saying Red is a mix of Frenchie, Donnie, and Rupert from Survivor. Now, I hadn't thought about Rupert. That's actually pretty good. My first thought when I saw him, I was going to throw in a little Gabler from Survivor as well. But Rupert's actually very good. Yeah, I agree with that. But in terms of Big Brother, yeah, take a little Frenchie, take a little Donnie, mix them all up. And that's what you got is old Red here. 37 years old, from Gatlinburg, Tennessee. So certainly from a regional standpoint, he fits right in. Not that Gatlinburg is full of Reds, but it makes more sense than if you told me he was from the Bronx or something. But yeah, Red is from Gatlinburg. He's in sales. Now, I did some searching, and I never could figure out what he handles in sales. I'm really curious. I mean, it's a different kind of industry that sells whatever Red sells. I want to find out. He's a bit of a mystery, but an absolute over-the-top character. I think he's going to be a very charismatic guy. I think having a sales background, whatever it is certainly going to help. Now, he did say, and this worries me a little bit, he says he's not a super fan, but he's watched the show over the years, and he defines that as, he talks about the fact that when he first started watching, he watched the earlier seasons, But that was back before TiVo and DVRs and all that. I get that, Red. I remember those days. And so he would just watch it when it was on TV. And he hasn't done anything with all the live feeds and all of that. He watched it early seasons and got away from it, started watching it again. And so he watches it a lot now, but I'm not sure that he still watches the live feeds and such. So he's definitely not a super fan. I think he understands the basics of how the game's played. I'm sure he does that. But we'll see. I think Red's going to be able to skate by a lot just on his personality. But then again, I think inside that house, I think he's going to really either pull people in or really drive them away. I think he's one of those guys that's probably not milquetoast anything. People are going to love him or hate him inside the house and outside the house. I can see it now. There's already going to be people that are going to be complaining about him, saying this guy is just a goofball. He's a character as opposed to a real person. I don't think that's the case. I remember people thinking that in the beginning about Donnie as well. And remember during Donnie Thompson's season, there were people who thought that he was actually a member of the FBI or police officers or something. No, Donnie's just Donnie. And I think Red's the same way, but I have a feeling there's going to be people in there who question if that's truly who he is or not. I think he's going to do well. He did say as a strategy, he's not going to tell anyone that he's in sales. He's going to keep that a secret. I don't know what he's going to tell me he does instead. That may be a fun story in and of itself. I have a feeling that Red is going to be the storyteller in the house this year. I think he's going to have all kinds of tall tales, true stories. Who knows which is which? But I have a feeling he's going to keep everyone in that house quite entertained. So that's going to be fun. Prediction for Red. I'm not sure that he's going to make it to the very end because I don't know the end game. His strategy is necessarily that he understands it quite well enough. He may prove me wrong, but I'm calling him for a late jury finalist. I think he's going to go a long way. Here's what I will predict. I think there's a very good chance, unless he goes home pre-jury, I think there's a very good chance that Red, I'll just almost guarantee Red will be in the running for America's favorite player. And I think there's a good chance he'll win it without having seen a single second of an actual episode. But he strikes me as the kind that could do well for America's favorite. So he's going to be a fun one to watch. All right. What else do we have on here? 748. God, so much to go fast. Brian Hostard, do you think anyone knows each other? Well, let's talk about that. And I'm going to have to go through these the rest of these people a lot faster. You've got a couple of people that I wonder about. One of them is Luke Valentine, who's an illustrator, and he originally is he's in Coral Springs now, but he's from Weston, Florida. I don't know where Weston is, but apparently Corey Zattenberger, who is the brother of Zach Wartenberger, who was from Survivor season 42, is also from Weston, Florida. I think that Luke's 30 years old. Corey is 21. They may run in different circles. 9-year difference may be enough that they don't see each other. But if Luke's one of these that potentially enjoys reality TV and Zach had any kind of meet and greet or anything else in his hometown, Luke could have been there. He could have met Corey at some point in time. So I don't know that they're tied with each other, but they may recognize each other. I don't know. In the same manner, Jared Fields, Siri's son from Survivor, there's a possibility that Siri and Zach were at some Survivor event at some point in time, and Jared and Corey may have met. I don't know. I'm so burned after my season finding out how many people did know each other. Is that the case this year or not? I don't know. Probably not. I kind of doubt it, but we'll find out. At this point, I can't say I'd be surprised if they did. But those are where I think it's maybe most likely is Corey knowing either Luke or knowing Jared Fields. All right, let's see what we go over some of these people. I knew this was going to happen. Talking too much. We got Red. We talked about Riley. Let's talk about, we haven't talked yet about Nicole Hayes. 30 years old from Marlboro, Maryland. Can you imagine living in Marlboro? That seems like do they make cigarettes there? I don't know. I'm sure that's the punchline that they get entirely tired of hearing. But her hometown is Missouri, St. Louis, I think she said. A political consultant, which is a little scary. You talk about backstabbing and devious and everything else. I guess she's an old hand at that, right? What they didn't say in her biography that I found out a little bit later, she is a graduate of Texas State University, TSU, right here in Houston. So yeah, hometown person, or at least she spent some time in Houston. So she's one of the ones I'm going to be cheering on just for that. She's got a journalism degree. Now she is married, 30 years old. We're not going to have, I think, as many showmances just because I think we've got more people maybe married than in years past. But she is married, so I assume no showmance. That'd be awkward, wouldn't it? But she's doing that now. She's kind of our pageant queen for the season. Seems like we always have a few of them, Taylor and Kat and Holly and a few. But she has been in the Ms. USA pageant representing, I think, Ms. District of Columbia. So she's worked in DC and represented them as well. So yeah, I think the fact that she's been involved in pageants where you're having to answer questions and be in front of crowds, and a political consultant, I have a feeling her social game is going to be pretty strong. Now, the thing I didn't necessarily think worked well for her was when she talked about strategy in the diary room session. She really didn't talk a lot about anything specific. She just said she's going to play like a politician. She's going to do whatever it takes. She's going to backstab, betray, whatever, leave people behind. And she just said, play it like a politician. I'm curious, is she going to be as devious and as villainous as she suggested, or is that just kind of fun to throw out there? I don't know. I think she's going to do okay, though. I've got her called out as a late jury finalist. I don't think she makes final three. She could surprise me, but without hearing more about her strategy, I really wasn't comfortable about putting her into a final three. All right, who else do we have? Let's talk about. Oh, first of all, Karen Venture. Thank you. Super chat for $4.99. It's something I didn't even realize YouTube did, but I guess they've turned on a feature, so little bit extra that can come my way. Thank you. I appreciate it. I don't do it for that. I do it because I have so much fun talking to you guys and handling questions and all that. But I certainly do appreciate it. Thank you, Karen, so much. Daniel Motley saying America is a close friend. Okay, so, well, I like hearing that. Silliest person ever. I didn't know she was cast until this morning. All right, Daniel, you need to be coming out here and giving us the younger folk that I work with sometimes say spill the tea. Not something I use a lot, but you need to come out here and give us all the information and the scoops and let us know, because that's always cool. Another reason to be cheering on America. Let's talk about America while we got her on here then, or while a topic came up. Oh, so many people I haven't talked about yet. This is sad. We may have to do this a little bit longer another time. But America Lopez, 27 years old, from Edinburgh, Texas. So another Texas connection. In addition to TSU, we've got America. She is now living in Brooklyn, apparently. And correct me if any of this is incorrect, but I pulled up as much as I could. During her interview, she said that she's got an Ivy League education. She's smart. I think she's gonna. In fact, I think she said she's gonna hide that from everyone. She's going to try to stay under the radar. She has zero problem lying. You're on the right show, America, if that's the case. But she does have an Ivy League degree. She also talked about the fact that she is a huge Big Brother super fan, or religiously watches super fans. So I think that's great. And now if you're telling me that she's silly as ever, I think that goes a long way towards in the house, especially if you're trying to hide sometimes that maybe you've got an intellect that you think is going to carry you a little bit further. Being a little silly and everything kind of disarms the other people in the house. So it's fantastic. Now, here's a question, and you can help me answer this question because I wasn't sure. Is she set up for what's her connections? Does she have boyfriend, husband, betrothed, anything else? Or is she one that we can maybe be looking for a showmance? I don't know. If she doesn't have any connections right now, I could maybe see her playing up a showmance as well and using that to carry a little bit further. But I think she's going to do well. In fact, I've got her as my final three choice. I think she can make it that far. I think it's because she surprised me, and that's my fault for stereotyping people. And as horrible as that is, I did it because I looked at her picture and probably didn't give her enough credit as I then got when I listened to her talk and hear her history and all that. I think she's going to do well. So yeah, it's such a great cast. All right, REM is saying Hisham sounds cool. Yeah, and let's talk about Hisham. Hisham is a doctor. There, Hisham Goel. I hope I pronounced that correctly. 45 years old, so he's the second oldest in the house. He's his hometown's Minneapolis, but I think he lives in Seattle now. He's a geriatric physician, so he works specifically with older folks. Go see him, I'm sure. I don't think his age is going to hurt him at all this season. Other seasons, perhaps so, but this season, not so much. He's talked a lot about how he wants to live life to its full potential, enjoy every single day because he works with so many older people who can't necessarily always do that now. The thing that worries me a little bit about Hisham is that he had such a well-defined strategy. He talked about how he wants to find someone who is his ride or die, and then each of them is then going to split up and be in their own group that people won't know that they're working together. He'll control the votes to keep the other person safe and vice versa. He wants to have a person that's very logical, that keeps their emotions in check. That all makes sense. It's not a bad strategy. I just think the fact that he has it so well thought out, that he runs a risk that things aren't going to go the way he wants, and then he's going to be left spinning a little bit. You form a final two with someone, but then if you go off into two separate groups, there's never a guarantee they're going to stay your final two, that they aren't going to make final two deals with other people. So it's only because I think he's a little too certain about how he's going to play the game that makes me question a little bit how he's going to do. I've got him called out as an early jury pick. All right, so we've got that. All right, just a few minutes. So I'm going to try to get through these last few real quick. Izzy Glatcher, 32 years old, from New York City. She's a flutist. She's also, so it means she's a performer. She likes to be in front of crowds and all that. She also talked a lot about the fact that she's a lesbian, that she really wants to represent her sexuality while she's in the house. It's a huge part of her, which I get. And so she's there with a bit of a objective in addition to playing the game. The thing that worries me a little bit about her is that she only started watching Big Brother in early 2023. In other words, was she recruited? And once she started watching a lot of the shows. I don't know that, but I think that's a possibility. Because of that, I've got her as an early jury pick, because I just don't know that you can pick up enough Big Brother just watching over a few months' time. I don't care how many episodes you watch. That's a tough thing to do. So I do think there's a possibility she's going to go out a little early, just because she may not understand the game quite as much as she needs to understand. All right, let's see if we get these last few in here. We talked about Jag. We talked about Jared. Another one, Kirsten Elwin, 25 years old. Her hometown's Orlando via Dominican Republic, but she lives in Houston now. Yet another Houston person. She is a molecular biologist, so incredibly smart. I could see some showman's potential with her because she is 25. She seemed like a very nice person. She talked about the fact that she watched a little bit of Big Brother as a kid, which suggests to me that she's certainly not a big fan. Was she a recruit? I don't know, but I don't know that she's really watched a lot of Big Brother. She talks about how she wants to align with the strong people to begin a big alliance and just steamroll everyone else in the house and come out on top after that. I hope that's not the case. I hope we don't have one big alliance with something like that happening. We'll find out. She's going to lie about being a biologist and say that she's a swimsuit designer instead. Yeah, we'll see if she can keep that secret up all season long. I've got her called out as an early jury pick as well. All right, we talked about Luke. We talked about Matt. We talked about Nicole. I could see Nicole Hayes and Kirsten working together since they have that Houston connection. We'll see what happens with that. All right, I think I just have one or two left. Let's see. We mentioned Corey. Let me talk about Corey. He's the brother of Zach. He's 21 years old, so he's the youngest in the house this year. I think he's going to have a tough road to hoe. Now, he was a lot of fun watching in the diary room interview. He's pretty funny. He's a huge super fan. He's talking about going in and just playing it. He's going to try to win HOH, but if that doesn't happen, he's going to very much come in and just play the young goofus that doesn't know how to fold clothes or do anything and try to make himself as small a threat as possible. It's a good idea, I think, to do that, to fly under the radar. But I think, especially with the house as a little bit more age as we've got this season, that may be dangerous. If people underestimate him too much, there may be people who decide within his own alliance or group that he thinks he's loyal to There may be people who said, yeah, well, he's not really going to contribute enough for us to hold on to. If we've got to get rid of him, and get rid of him. As a result, I think that he may be a pre-jury. I think he'll still last longer than his brother Zach, who was the first boot and survivor, but I think Corey may not last that long. All right, guys, I'm gonna go just a few minutes longer because it's already 8. But I don't want to leave anyone out, but I'll do it fast. We've got Cameron Harden, 34, from Eastman, Georgia. He's a stay-at-home dad. Props to Cameron for doing that. A huge super fan he talked about. Here's Cameron. The big thing that stands out on Cameron is those right there, that hair of his. He has got a lot of hair he's going to be carrying into that house. His strategy says he doesn't want to win too many competitions early. He's going to lay low. He's going to downplay how big a fan he is, purely, absolutely legit to try to downplay that. He thinks that he can really read people well. I don't know. He came off a little bit too confident to me. I've got him as an early jury or even a pre-jury in that case. We'll see how Cameron does. And then I think the last two I've got, Bowie Jane. I think she goes by Bowie Jane, but my brother's name's Bowie, so I'll call her Bowie the whole time. 45. She's from Australia. I guess she's a U.S. citizen now, or she wouldn't be playing the game. But she's a DJ. At first, I thought she was a DJ and a barista working at Starbucks or something. No, she's a DJ and a barrister, which is the Australian term for an attorney. So she may surprise us. She's going to lie about her age. She's going to lie about being an attorney. With this house, I don't think she has to lie about her age. She's 45 also. I don't think anyone's going to care this season. But she's going to lie about her age and about being an attorney. The only thing that worries me a little bit, she may have trouble making connections only because her life is different from everyone else, being from Australia and all that. She now lives in LA. I don't know how long she's been there. She could be interesting. I actually have her as a pre-jury because I just don't know how well she'll mesh with everyone else. But she is big into music, being a DJ. That may be her entry into talking to everyone else. I hope she studied a lot of the music of folks in their 20s and all of that. And then finally, the final one, last but not least, Blue Kim. I've seen a lot of people talking about Blue. 25 years old. She's from New York City. Her hometown is in California, but now she lives in New York City. She's a brand strategist, which kind of suggests influencer type position to me. Maybe not. Maybe it's something different, but that's what immediately struck me. She says she's going to lie about her job because if she says a brand strategist, people are going to think she's too strategic. I'm not sure the two carry over quite the way she thinks, but she says she's going to win a lot of competition. She's going to play a mean social game. Well, yeah, if you do both of those, then you do very well. But saying and doing sometimes are two different things. I don't know how much Big Brother she has actually seen. I don't know that she's going to do as well as some people are predicting. My prediction is pre-jury, but she can prove me wrong. She's going to be very interesting. She seems confident, but being an influencer, it does make me wonder, one, was she recruited, or did she try out, want to be on the show, or was she just, someone reached out to her? And two, is she in there to win the game, or is she in there to gain some clout in terms of influencing and all of that, based just on her being a brand strategist? I don't know. But you know what I do know? It's going to be a fantastic season. I can't wait. Starts on Wednesday. I'll be dropping my first episode Thursday morning. So we'll call it good there. We'll talk. We're going to talk a lot more over the next few weeks. If y'all have any questions, because it's so quick, if you have any questions, shoot me DMs. I'll chat with y'all in private as well. And if you got any scoop on any of these contestants, let me know. Lips are sealed. I won't say who it came from, but give me the scoop on these guys. All right, Kennedy Franklin, nervous about starting job tomorrow. All right, at the bakery. Kennedy, we're going to finish with that. Non-Big Brother. Life's all about taking chances. Life is all about going out there. The failure, or I shouldn't even say failure, not succeeding isn't the worst thing in the world. Just keep that in mind. You're going to do fantastic, but worst comes to worst, it's still okay. You got a lot of life to live. Don't worry about it. Enjoy the journey, not the destination. What's life's all about. Have fun tomorrow. You're going to do good. I've talked to you enough. You're going to do fantastic, but keep us in the loop on how you're doing. And just congratulations for doing it. All right, guys, with that, we're going to shut it down. As I said at the beginning, if you haven't already done so, please consider a subscription to my YouTube channel. Turn on notifications. Please give me a thumbs up as we get into Big Brother. No, I just love this time of season. So please consider subscribing to the channel because we're going to be doing a lot of videos. And with that, guys, a big old SKD 143. I love all of y'all. I love reality TV. Truly is the most favorite time of the year. Y'all have a good one. It's going to be a great season. Guys, cheers, my friends. Have a great one. I will see y'all Thursday morning. All right. If not before then. Y'all have a great one, guys. Bye.